5 years ago, Tower Hamlets adopted a zero-tolerance policy for holidays in term time. But for school heads and governors, the policy is voluntary.
The policy on term time holidays in Tower Hamlets is that we really don't authorise them. We do that because it's really important for us that our children achieve. We've caught up with and are at national standards at lots of key stages, but if children are not in school, they can't learn. And every day that they miss, when they come back, they're behind their peers. Every week that they miss, it gets harder for them to catch up. When you look at the attendance in this borough, we were, a few years ago, the second worst in the whole country. We're now at primary level, just behind the national average.
Harbinger Primary on the Isle of Dogs is one of many that have taken up the strict policy. Any vacation, however short and for whatever reason, is marked as unauthorised. The school has a diverse population, and the head, Mandy Bootwood, has to deal with a wide range of holiday requests.
I'm not saying that I'll think badly of the parent if they do decide to take their child on holiday. I'm just saying for us it will be unauthorised. It hasn't been approved by the school or the governors. And so I hope that means that I can put that back into the parents' court and they can think, well, it's not going to be authorised. I have a decision to make. Do I decide to take my child on holiday or on an extended leave and take the benefits of what that will bring, possibly for the child, or do I think about the disruption to the education?
Before going away, all parents have to complete a questionnaire.
The form helps the issue because it really pushes parents to think about the last day their children will attend school, the date they intend to return, and the real reasons that they may require to take a holiday. But the leave of absence is often not approved because, for the words of the form, the governors have adopted Tower Hamlets Education Authority's policy that schools should not agree to holidays in term time or extended leave other than exceptional circumstances. And I don't think I have ever authorised any leave during term time since we've had this policy in place.
The tough approach has clarified the situation and it's reduced the numbers taking trips. But some parents continue to take children away in term time.
Although we took the educational books away with us, Ethan's not a very keen scholar, so it was quite a struggle for him to do that work when we were away, and I confess, he didn't do as much as I'd hoped. But even in reflection, I think he just learned amazing things. We went to a nature reserve and there was a lot of monkeys there, and he spent about 15 minutes hand feeding the monkey one by one. We also went to a museum which detailed African culture and also the slave history, so we talked a little bit about that with the boys. And I think he also really got on with the local children. He really understood them, and for some reason he just connected with them.
What's the first thing I need to do on my bar chart? Maisha.
Snake and ladders.
Oh, good girl.
While he was away, Ethan missed 2 weeks of lessons.
He was quite tearful in the first day when he came back because he sort of, he was so in the holiday mood. He was quite tired and, he needed a lot of prompting to concentrate.
Any more than that?
He's still catching up, I feel, because he missed out a big chunk of one of the units that we were doing. So he was kind of sort of had a gap in his knowledge.
I think a trip abroad, of course, can be very educational. And what I would say to parents who want to take trips during term time is take them in the holiday time. Your children then get the benefit of the education of that trip abroad. But bear in mind, if you take your child out of school for 2 weeks every year, that means at the end of their schooling, they've missed 2 whole terms worth of education.
Do the benefits outweigh the costs?
They have for us at this point, but I don't think it would necessarily be a routine thing. I think we'd take it as a case-by-case thing, where we'd sort of think if we had a passion for doing something with the children and the opportunity arose and we could afford it, then I think we would do it if we really felt like it was going to be worthwhile. But I think if it was really just going, I don't know, Costa Blanca or something, to sit on the beach or by a swimming pool for a week, then perhaps not.
An advantage of the zero-tolerance policy is that heads don't have to decide which holidays are acceptable.
To decide which one is right to grant and which one isn't is incredibly difficult. So if you have a policy that says no tolerance, that means it's very straightforward. There is no tolerance, whether you're asking about a day to go shopping, a week in the Bahamas, a month in Jamaica. They're all treated the same. There's no differentiation and it's equal for everybody.
I think what it does is provide a very, very, very consistent playing field. And OK, our unauthorised absences look like we have a lot of truancy, but now we can code them differently. I think it just means it can be fair and equal. I'm not making judgments on whether you can make a good argument to me or not.
We was going to go in July, even though it was a lot expensive, but then we changed it to October because I saved £800. They loved it. They did. We'll go back. Experience which they don't get over here.
So when you talked to the school about going on the trip, what did the school say to you?
They couldn't authorise it. It'd be classed as an absence because it wasn't in the school holidays. I said to them, I'm going to take him anyway because it's booked. So it's just one of them things. I can't afford to pay to go on holiday in a 6 weeks holiday.
I do think there is a genuine problem about affordability and holidays, and I have huge sympathy for parents who would really like to take their children on a family holiday but are unable to meet the cost of it during the summer when all travel agents put their prices very, very high. Teachers have that problem too. And it's really difficult because, again, all I do is use the same line. I have to say, these are, you must think about the positives of this holiday for your child and your family. These are the reasons why I don't think they need to miss school.
I think it done fairly well, good, because it come back fresh. As I said, he didn't miss out on nothing. If we went on a bus ride or something, fairly well pace. It's like maths. To me, it's like maths. You've got $1. What's that in English money? And you just sit and work it out.
It was just like a kind of holiday of a lifetime for the family. And he just had such a whale of a time and came back so sort of excited and full of his experiences that you couldn't possibly see that as being disadvantageous to him.
And when he come back, all he wanted to do was write about his experience in America. Like I said, every park he went to, he wrote down the details, draw pictures. So he just couldn't wait to tell everyone.
You have to think about individual cases and you have to think, well, yes, in this case, this isn't going to be detrimental to the child's learning and could be beneficial in terms of their broader life experience.
With Freddie, we saw benefits of him taking such an exciting trip. We saw confidence levels, his self-esteem rising because of, his peer group were all very interested and impressed by his holiday. It gave him a breadth of experience that he hadn't really experienced before. So, all in all, one would have to say that was a very positive experience for him.
And yet it's still unauthorised.
Absolutely.
Affordability is something that parents often raise. And one of the things that I would say is you are making choices. You're making choices with your child's life. Nothing is more precious than their education. I appreciate it's cheaper to go during term time, but perhaps think about other possibilities. Going abroad isn't necessarily what's really valuable for children. The really important thing about holidays with their parents is the time you spend together as a family, and that actually doesn't cost.
Another difficult issue in Tower Hamlets is families taking extended trips back to the Indian subcontinent. Almost half of pupils at Harbinger are Bengali, and every year some parents take their children to Bangladesh in term time.
Jalal is in year 2, a really key year for children, particularly children from an area like this. Their first language is in English. They have to have some teacher assessments in the summer, and that really sets them up for their Key Stage 2 experience.
Fantastic picture. OK, let's find another one. Oh, Billy Joe is next. Did you finish it, Billy Joe?
Yeah.
My concerns, he's not back yet, he's been gone for nearly a whole term, is the progress that he made in that short while just before he left. He might go back to how he was at the beginning of the year.
Jalal's gone to Bangladesh with his mother and sister, but his father has stayed behind for work.
He's missing school, he's missing education, but he's learning, as well as away, he's learning a lot of things.
What do you think of the school's criticism that he's missing out in the school? What do you think of that?
I mean, again, I agree with school as well. I mean, I'm not going to deny that.
Although there are many positive reasons why children should go on long holidays, on extended leave, the downside is the children come back into school having missed chunks of work that may never be revisited again. Sometimes they lack self-esteem as they have to re-establish themselves in the class, and the social relationships have often broken down. Sometimes the gaps in children's education aren't obvious until they move to the next year, when we're trying to put the next building block in place and the children haven't got the previous one because they were away at that time.
In Tower Hamlets, pupils who are away for an extended period are taken off roll. And this has just happened to Jalal.
We can't hold places open for families who are abroad over a restricted period of time because we've got children who are waiting for places in schools. So if you go abroad for 6 weeks and you don't come back, somebody else is likely to take your child's place. We can't guarantee there'll still be a place for your child when you come back. So that's a fairly effective deterrent for families when they understand the risk that they're taking.
I'm really very, very concerned about it, because if he loses his place, he's going to have to go to a new school, make new friends, whereas, I mean, he got his friends at Harbinger School at the moment, who he's very pleased with, and he get on well. I'm really, really concerned about that.
Did it make you think twice about whether he should go?
Did think about it. I mean, made me think over and over, but we have no option but to leave.
What will happen is when he comes back from Bangladesh, he can make an application to come back into school, and if we have a place in year 2, he will come straight back in as soon as possible.
It would be very difficult for Jalal, I think, if he didn't come back to this school, and also for children in his class. He's got some very close friends who daily talk about Jalal and looking forward to him coming back. It would be horrible, you know, for me as well, because I've built a relationship up with him and I'd love for him to come back to the class. It would be a real shame if he can't get his place back.
Taking pupils off roll has forced some to move schools. It's a powerful deterrent, and there's been a significant reduction in extended trips abroad. Despite the complexity of many cases, Tower Hamlets is convinced of the benefits of zero tolerance.
There are actually only 39 weeks in the school year. We can't force parents to not take their children out of school, but they do need to understand the risks that they're taking doing so and the disadvantages they place their children in.